Welcome to the 2010 Candidate Forums featuring elections for local, state, and congressional offices, recorded live from the B.W. Simpkins Center at BCC's Cocoa campus. These forums are made possible through a partnership between Brevard Community College, Florida Today, the League of Women Voters, and the Space Coast Tiger Bay Club. And now, tonight's forum.
Good evening and welcome to this, the fifth in a series of candidate forums here in the B.W. Simpkins Fine Arts Auditorium at Brevard Community College's Cocoa campus. I'm J.B. Comp, President-elect of Tiger Bay Club, and we're in partnership with BCC, Florida Today, and the Space Coast League of Women Voters to bring you these informative discussions. Tonight we'll be featuring the three candidates for District 24 Florida State Senate. And before I introduce you to the candidates, let me explain the format for tonight's forum. There'll be a 2-minute opening statement by all three of our candidates, followed by questions from the audience, the live studio audience here in the B.W. Simpkins Auditorium. I'll direct those on a rotating basis to each of the candidates. They'll have a minute to respond to those questions and an optional 30-second rebuttal opportunity. Following the final candidate response, the candidates will be given a 1-minute closing statement opportunity. The first question: some Florida municipalities complain that Tallahassee has given them unfunded mandates as a result of state lawmakers attempting to shift the burden from the state to cities and counties. Is that a valid concern? And if so, what should be done about the problem? You have 1 minute, please.
I think that is a valid concern. It would be so easy for Tallahassee to pass the buck and force mandates down to local government, which forces them to raise taxes if they must provide those services through mandates. So I'm a fiscal conservative, and I don't think we should be forcing mandates or force tax increases back to the local level. One thing that we have done in Florida is we have, working through local governments, implemented a constitutional amendment that requires a supermajority vote prior to a mandate. Coming from local government, I think that's a good thing. So that has reined in a lot of those mandates. But I certainly, as a state senator, will constantly be on guard to ensure that we're not passing mandates on that only mean higher taxes to local citizens.
My opponent has been in politics for approximately 20 years, and he's had the opportunity to stop those unfunded mandates from coming down and hitting the local municipalities. This is a style of government that I'm certainly not in favor of. Basically, it allows the state government and even the federal government sends down unfunded mandates as well. And these unfunded mandates are basically a tax that the taxing authority, in this case the state, wants other people to pay on their behalf. This is something that I will stop if I have the opportunity to do so, and certainly vote against any measure that would cause those unfunded mandates to occur. Senator Altman also took the time to create legislation that took the power of municipalities to have their own red light camera revenue and brought it into the state, also ending another source of revenue for those municipalities.
As far as unfunded mandates are defined, we see those in just about every level of government. They're an unfortunate reality. What we have to concentrate on are the ones that are going to have the most impact, the ones that are particularly unfair, the ones that after we've gone through budget cut and budget cut and budget cut, the state says, well, we have to still find a way to cut more money to balance our budget. So we're going to force that burden down the line. It's sort of a reverse federalism, if you will. What we do need to do is concentrate on finding the most obtrusive and expensive mandates and start on those and do it one at a time. Thank you very much.
Now, gentlemen, you each have 30 seconds in that same rotational order to respond in rebuttal to anything you heard that you think you need to respond to. It's an option. You don't have to exercise it, but we'll give each of you that opportunity now.
Thank you. A couple of years ago, a few years ago, I won the County Champions Award for voting against mandates. Voting against mandates. Local governments have recognized me and honored me for my votes against mandates. I just received an award last night from the League of Cities because of my defense. There are some mandates I have voted for, though. I have voted for mandates that limit the ability of local governments to raise your taxes. We implemented a tax reform package that required supermajority votes. So if the local governments are going to raise your taxes, they must do so by a larger. So in that regard, I've fought for taxpayers making it more difficult to raise taxes on them.
Go ahead, Bart.
Okay, so what I believe in is that decision-making needs to be held at the lowest level, or the bottom area. In this case would be the municipalities should have the power to make decisions on their own and have understand what their destiny is and be able to vote the way that they want for their own people. And then the state does it for the state level, but we shouldn't be pushing centralized decision-making from the state down and having these unfunded mandates taking over the revenue of the local communities.
I question the wisdom of dictating mandates and then telling the municipalities that they can't figure out their way that they're going to fund them. I also question the type of decisions that were made in regard to educational policy and the mandates that came down on school boards. There are a lot of interesting situations that I hope that you all research more to find out exactly what mandates were funded and which ones were not.